Welcome to episode number 17. And today I have a very special guest. We are going to talk about how to create a content marketing plan that produces 5 sales per week. So if you have been struggling in your business to get leads, basically almost on a daily basis, today is going to be a really good episode. And also, if you've been struggling to actually come up with content, and create that plan of action so you can start producing, a consistent flow of content to help you generate leads and to convert those leads into sales, you're in the right place right now. So get excited. I'm so happy that you clicked on this video and you're watching it now because we're going to deliver the goods for you today. So my special guest with me is Jelena Ostrovska. Did I pronounce that right?
Yep, you got it right.
Jelena Ostrovska has been absolutely crushing it in her business. She is a big time traveler. She travels all across the globe. She's buying red bottom shoes, she just she is an absolute rock star in this industry, and she's going to teach you today how to create a consistent flow of content using a couple of free tools that we have online that actually help us plan accordingly so that we can produce those 5 sales per week. So I'm going to shut my mouth up and I am just going to go ahead and hand it over to Jelena. So Jelena, take it over.
Thank you so much for that introduction, Lisa. Super excited to share the content creation plan that I've been sticking to for, I will say, over 2 years, very consistently. So, and something that I was able to nail down, I guess, just over this past year. Like, we are in 2018 right now, moving into 2019. And I will say that I know that so many people struggle with, like, how do you stay consistent? How do you produce all that content? Because we all know that content creation is something that's really going to help you produce sales, as we all want on autopilot. Obviously, autopilot money is not going to happen immediately, but it is going to happen over time as you get consistent with your content creation and as you get consistent with building your audience. So, and as we all have, different kinds of, social media platforms, there can be a lot of content to create. Because when I first started out, I'm initially known as a blogger because I was blogging for 6 months straight, 5 to 7 times a week, creating daily videos, like for YouTube, daily videos for my Facebook profile, for my Facebook fan page. I have no idea how I was able to pull it off, maybe because I don't have kids or husband or anything like that. So that probably helped a little bit. But eventually, I cut it down. So I will share with you the things that work right now, not the things that used to work 3 years ago, because, ain't nobody got time for that. So, and here's, some things that I will share what I'm doing, the very basics. So, and then I'll kind of gradually move on to some things that you can add into your business that I believe are essentials, like blogging, YouTube videos, video marketing in general, Facebook lives. So here's number one thing that I will say before I move into the screen share. You have to choose one platform because, we always have that FOMO effect, the fear of missing out. Oh, what if I don't jump on this platform? Then all those other people are going to generate all those crazy amount of leads. And then I'm going to be here still trying to do daily Facebook lives. Well, don't treat it like that, because I had that FOMO. Back 4 years ago, I started with my Facebook fan page. Then the trainer I was listening to said, oh, now let's start setting up a Facebook ad. And I was 19 years old. I didn't have the money for ads. I was like, okay, scratch that. Then I moved into Instagram, started kind of playing around with it, got a few consistent leads. And then I didn't really generate a whole lot of sales back then from Instagram. Actually, I generated, I think, one customer that quit the next month. And I was like, oh, that's not going to cut it long term. That's not going to let me travel and buy red bottom shoes. So I was like, I need to figure something else. And then I moved into Facebook. So, and here's what I will say. I do recommend starting out with Facebook, especially if that is where your audience is at, because if you're trying to attract, millennials, maybe people like my age, 20, 25, 30, then Instagram might be a good platform. And if you're into visual content creation, images and photos and stuff like that, if you are somebody who's maybe into real estate, or you are into like, working with professionals, then Instagram is probably not a really good platform. You may want to move into something like LinkedIn, right? So if you are somebody who's like, well, I don't want to prospect, I don't want to deal with anybody, like I'm just good at creating videos, then you may want to go into YouTube. So some of the strategies that I share may or may not be a fit, but I will say that the principles always remain the same when it comes to content planning, because if you don't plan, then I mean, you're just going to be wasting all of the time every single day during the week from Monday to Friday, trying to figure out, oh, what am I going to talk about? And I will say this, there have been like 2 points in my business, like point number one, where I was wasting like 2 to 3 hours every single day in front of my WordPress dashboards on my blog, trying to think, oh, like, what am I going to talk about today? Like, do I record the video? Do I like write a like super long article? Like, what do I do? And then eventually, like, that's why I wasn't consistent with that. I was, creating articles here and there, maybe like 1 article a month, sometimes 2 articles a week. And then I was wondering why I wasn't generating any leads, let alone sales. And I was like, I had to do something about it. And this is when I figured out batching. So, and batching basically is you take, 1 day or 2 days out of your week. I usually do like on the weekends, Saturday or Sunday, usually Sunday for me, where I sit down for a couple of hours and I plan out all of my social media content, or at least like I jot down some ideas. But for my website, for example, for my blogs, what I used to do, I used to sit down and record 5 videos in a row, and all I would do, I would just change my shirt so it looks like I recorded on different days. I know we've all done it. I know Lisa has done it, because it works, it's effective. Why waste, 15 minutes of your time every single day, especially for those, like for us women who like, we need to put on the makeup and like doing it daily. I mean, no, just no. I mean, like nobody wants, like, I don't want to spend like, 20, 30 minutes or an hour putting on my face every single day just to record a single video. So may as well record, like 3, 5, 10 videos, as many as you can, especially if you have that time. That's why I recommend like, to do it over the weekend, because that's probably the free time you have during the week, especially if you have a full-time job. So batching, the same principle can be applied, to blogging, to YouTube videos, to your Facebook lives, to your Instagram content, to your maybe like you're on Twitter, maybe you're on LinkedIn, like, whatever it is that you're doing, sit down even like for your Facebook fan page or your Facebook group, like, it doesn't matter what you have, but you do need to like, spend an hour or 2 hours of your time up front to save yourself like hours, like during the week, especially, like I said, if you're busy, then you're not going to have the time to figure out what I'm going to be talking today on my Facebook Live. So sit down, create it. And it's also going to save you a lot of anxiety, because if you always get that anxiety feeling when you're just like, oh my gosh, and like your palms are sweating and like the Facebook Live is coming up in 5 minutes, at your time when you have like lunch break, and you're just like, oh, maybe I'm going to do it tomorrow. And then tomorrow never comes. So we all know that. So there are a few tools.
So let me ask you a question though, when it comes to batching, Jelena.
Yeah.
So you're recommending that and when we say batch, guys, what that means basically in a nutshell is to produce a whole bunch of videos in 1 day, just so we're clear. So when you're taking your 1 day a week to do the batching, how many videos are you sitting down to create? And then at what point are you releasing that content? Like, are you like doing videos twice a week? Is it for, 5 videos for the next week? Like, what is that process?
Okay, so for me, like it used to be, like I said, I used to do blogging with YouTube videos like 5 times a week minimum. So what I would do, it would be 5 videos recorded in 1 day every single week, and then I would release them like from Monday to Friday. That's how it used to be. Or like some days it would be like, instead of Friday, it would be Saturday, or some, vice versa. Right now, like I don't recommend daily blogging, and I know you would agree with me on that, because it's just flat out crazy blogging every single day. You do need to focus on less content and more promotion. So I do blogging once a week. So it's 1 video a week, usually every Monday, or usually every Monday for me. So, and that's like 4 videos for the month. Usually I sit down once a month and I record, 4 videos, or sometimes like if I feel like, or if I know when I'm traveling. So if I know like, oh, next month I'm leaving, so I better create all of my content so I don't have to like worry about it next month. So I would sit down, like I would take those 2 days during the weekend, like Saturday and Sunday, I'm going to record 4 videos on a Saturday, 4 videos on a Sunday, and that's like 2 months of content.
Amazing. So much value from there. And you know what I love about that? What I love about batching is that you actually get, you know, there's just the idea of sitting down 1 or 2 days out of a whole entire month and creating content, like weekly content for the next 2 months. It's just so freeing. Like it frees you up to do the other things that you need to do in your business, while at the same time staying consistent with producing, you know, your weekly content. So, okay, go ahead. I'm loving it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it just gives you that peace of mind to where every single week you know that you have that piece of content, and everything else kind of circles back around to that blog post. You know, everything goes back. Let's say if you talk about in a blog post about like attraction marketing, like even your Facebook lives, they can be about like attraction marketing, and then drive people back to your website, drive people back to your YouTube channel. So everything kind of like you have one big piece of content, then you can take pieces out of it and share like a little status update on your Facebook profile, a little status update on your fan page, or do like a Facebook ad, you know, and run into that same, you know, that same article. So, and for me, like in my business, everything has always been going back to my blog, because that's the only piece of real estate I own online. Like I don't own any of my capture, you know, like any of my capture pages. Like if somebody shuts down ClickFunnels or something, then like I'm gonna be out, right? So my blog, I know that it's out there, and you know, as long as I, you know, control it, then nothing's gonna happen with it. So that's why like everything, like, you know, all the people that follow me online, the same I know for you, Lisa, everybody goes back to our website.
Absolutely. So now what I want to know from you before we get into the actual meat of today's training, what I want to know from you is when you produce that content, when you're sitting down and you did your like 8 videos or 4 videos or however, you know, 1 or 2 months that you know, you're going to pre-plan or pre-shoot, when it's time to release them, what is that process? Do you wait until the day of to release them? Do you wait to the night before to release them? Are you outsourcing any of that stuff? Are you saying that you're uploading it to YouTube and then putting it on your blog and creating whole blog posts, which is basically what I do? Like, what is your process on that?
Okay, I'm able to share that Trello board here in a little bit, because I used to do it all on my own until a friend of mine, a friend of ours actually, Sherry Brown, smacked some sense into my brain and said, Jelena, you can't do it all on your own. Like you need to outsource that. And I've like before 3 years ago, I used to edit, video edit all of my videos. I used to create all the graphics. I built my own website from scratch. Like, you know, like sometimes you kind of force yourself to become technical, even when you're really, you know, not that technical. So in the beginning, it was all me. And like, I will say that it's good to learn it and kind of know what you're doing, you know, before you outsource, before I, you know, like kind of, you know, found people, you know, like, hey, like do this, do that. So right now I do have a video editor, and I do have a graphics editor, and I do have a general virtual assistant who does like the blog syndication, like going into Facebook groups, going into LinkedIn communities, you know, Google Plus. You know,
So you're saying that you have actually 3 people or assistants that are helping you with the 3 different things, not just one person doing it all. So let's talk about costs, because I know people are thinking like, oh my God, I can't afford to have 3 assistants. Let's talk a little bit about that first.
Okay, so I will say like the assistant, the most expensive one that I have, I pay $8 per hour for video editing. And then I think she's from Ukraine, so she's, you know, she's pretty much Russian, just like me. So although we speak in English, it's kind of funny. So anyways, not the point, but $8 per hour. I mean, that's still cheap. Like the other 2 assistants I have, they are from Philippines, and I pay, I think to both of them, I'm pretty sure I pay less than $5 per hour, like $4.50 per hour, $4.20, something like that. And I will tell you this, I mean, they work for me probably about, I mean, combined, all of them, probably about like 20, maybe 30 hours per week. So, but I mean, that's 20, 30 hours per week that I don't have to work. I mean, I can focus on other activities like you know, creating content, talking to people, getting on the phone, like the things that I can't actually outsource, which is kind of getting my face on video and talking to people. And I used to have a bad mindset, and like, you don't have to outsource everything. I kind of started outsourcing like gradually. I had like, certain things, and then I was like, oh, I don't want to do graphics, so I have to find somebody. Then I was like, I don't want to do video editing because it's just like taking me 2 hours. I may as well like spend those 2 hours somewhere else. And the mindset the mindset shift that I had was like, people pay me way more for my time than $4.50 per hour. So, and trust me,
Absolutely.
if you're watching this, like, your time is way more valuable than $5 per hour, because if you do the activities that bring in actual customers or distributors into your, let's say, network marketing business, then that's way more valuable than you sitting down creating an image or like editing a video, which nobody really pays you for that.
Yeah, absolutely. So as far as the money is concerned, what is the ballpark on how much you actually pay in outsourcing, let's say per month in total,
Okay,
approximately?
so approximately, so let's say on average, I'm paying, let's say between 3 assistants, that would be like $6 per hour. If I pay like $4.50 and then $8, so that would be, and I most likely pay like less than $500 a month. So it's like,
So less than $500 a month to outsource to 3 people.
yeah,
Pretty freaking amazing.
yeah. Because I will tell you this, I always wanted to do something like you did, because you have one person, right? So, and
Sorry,
then,
I had you on mute. Yes, I have one person.
yeah.
And she does my editing, my photo creating, and like creating my blog posts, uploading it to YouTube, doing the SEO, like, because I have a process in place.
Yeah.
So, I have a step-by-step thing on do this first, do this second, do this. So she knows like my flow of how, because I was doing it by myself at one point.
Yeah.
And so because I did it for so long, I developed kind of like a plan, because I needed to work through the process, to get it done. And so over time, I was able to develop that process and that flow, and then just teach her how to do it. Now, I took it off my plate so that I can focus on other things, like maybe, coming up with the content like we're going to talk about today, or, doing some webinar slides for an upcoming webinar, or creating some content for a course or something like that.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. So in my case, like, I could never find like one assistant who could do my flow, but I kind of feel like eventually either one of my assistants is going to do like the whole thing, or like, they're going to cooperate, because here's kind of how we do it. So we all use Trello, which I'm actually going to show. I'm going to open up that other board, which I wasn't going to show, but since we're talking about it, then, why not? So let me see. Okay, so let me open up. Okay, let me do the screen share. So the only thing is, I think I haven't updated it because I've been traveling like for 2 months, so the board has not been up to date. But let me show you that. So basically, here's what we do. So let me know if you can see my screen.
yep, I can see it.
Okay, so here's kind of how I plan everything. And this is obviously from July, because that's the time when I left, and then things kind of got crazy. But basically, I do it like this. So every single Monday, so I have like the post July 23rd, July 30th. Then the first card that I have in Trello is, the title. So that is the title that would go on my like blog graphic, that, my graphics editor, she, basically she sees the video, and then she sees the title, and that, like, she knows the deadline for everything. And, she goes ahead and creates the image, and then she sends it over to me on Slack. So it's pretty much like, same thing as Skype or WhatsApp or Messenger. Then here's something else that is in Trello board. So I have like, my video over here. So when my video editor goes into this particular Trello board, like all my assistants are over here. So she can basically go, this is connected to my Dropbox account, right? So this is in my Dropbox folder, like raw videos that need to be edited. So she can easily go here and find the video with the title. And then she sends it back to me, through Dropbox again. So like, there we go, like complete graphics, complete videos. And then I have like bullet points for the post, because this is kind of how I do it. I don't really script my videos, but when I record them, I kind of do need to know what I'm going to be talking about. So I always have bullet points. Either they're going to be like through text, or this one, I just had them like, written out. and I just like attach the image. So this is something that I use for my articles, and that's why I can get done with my blog post within like less than an hour, maybe like 45 minutes maximum, because I already know what I'm going to be talking about. All I really need to do is just elaborate on it. Or one thing that I've also been doing, either I transcribe my whole video like through rev.com, or I have like one of my assistants go ahead and transcribe the video and kind of send me the whole thing, and then I do like, you know, some editing, like some SEO and stuff like that. And then I always put like a little, you know, like what is it that I'm going to be promoting. So, and then all I do, like once this is done, I would like archive this list. And this is basically what I've done for, you know, like I have to update like November and December, but this is like the raw thing, how it would look like without any like content. So all I do then is like I add the topic over here, I change like, you know, like the deadline, and then my assistants, like they get alerted whenever I get something done within Slack. So I know this is kind of it sounds complicated, but you know, all like even if you don't have assistants, I do feel like using Trello is going to like save your life, because you can see everything at a glance. And especially if you're a digital person, like, you know, I'm kind of both. I do like paper, but I also like to see like the whole picture. And Trello basically allows me to do that. So for the website, that's like ideal.
Yeah. So just to recap, you're basically on each date, which is the launch date for the actual post. So then what happens with, okay, so now the format is you have the topic, you have the video, and you have the completed graphics, which I'm going to assume that all of your assistants have access to this board.
Yep, okay. They're all here.
Okay, so they know, are they color coded to your assistants?
No, they're not, but I mean, I do have like, you know, let me see my video editor. It's like they're like over here, like at the top. But they just get alerted whenever I update something, and then I message them on Slack and I say like, hey, the topics for this month are done. All the deadlines are there, so make sure the videos and the graphics are done before, you know, like before Sunday of that week. So like Sunday and then Monday, those blog posts like need to be published.
And so are they publishing it? I think you answered this question already. So when they finish editing, editing the video and creating the graphics and all that fancy stuff, and everything is complete, and they put everything back on the Trello board, everything that's completed, what is this next step after that? Do you go in the Trello board and now you go create, you know, upload it to YouTube, do the SEO, create the blog post? What is that next process?
Yeah, so next process, this is kind of where I come in. That's the only things that I'm doing on my own right now, which eventually they are most likely going to be outsourced. But at this point, when everything is done, I go to YouTube. So I upload the video, and I first set it to private. So like nobody can see it, especially if I do it on a Sunday. I don't really need it to be released on a Sunday yet. I add all the description, I add some keywords, like all that SEO stuff. I get done with my article. I add the graphics, I add the images. So the blog post gets all written down. So that's like, you know, what I'm doing. And then on Monday, I go to my YouTube channel. I make the video public. I insert it into my article, and then I publish that. And then that's when I start like emailing my list and promoting it on social media.
Got it. So you basically almost have the same process as me.
Yeah, basically.
It's almost, it's mine is just a little bit different, but it's pretty much overall kind of like the same thing. So now I know the question, this was the plan, but now let's take the last 5 more minutes and talk a little bit about, if you can share your ideas on like, what is your process on coming up with content, so that when you do go sit down on that day to create, or the weekend to create the 4 to 8 videos for the next 1 to 2 months, what is that? How do you come up with the ideas? Because I think that's where a lot of people struggle with. It's not so much about, you know, creating the graphics and editing the videos and creating the blog posts. It's the idea that they struggle with. So how do you come up with your ideas?
Okay, so I'm going to stop the, I was going to stop the
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna go back to here. So there's a few things that I do. So some of them, sometimes we always get into that like writer's block, or that kind of like when you're just kind of stuck with content. Like I've been there. Like I feel like we've all been there. That's the reason why I cut down
I
blogging.
still get there sometimes.
Oh yeah, I know. Like that's
It's like
why
a never-ending cycle, but as long as you know how to whip yourself out of it, you're good. So you're not alone for sure.
Exactly. And I mean, like some days especially, it's like when that time comes and you're just like, oh, I need to think of my content today, and then you're like, oh, today's not a good day, like I don't have anything in my mind. And I will tell you this, and I remember you posted something on Facebook, like I think it was maybe a year ago or something, and I was like, yep, like that's exactly like what's like I always had the same thoughts. So the reason we always struggle, like not always, but the reason we struggle with content creation is because we don't do enough personal development. That's really it. And I know that especially last year, like I don't know, like sometimes we get that to that point and you hit like, and I hate that word, complacency. When you just get complacent and you're like, things are moving and everything is kind of good, and then all of a sudden you find yourself, you're not reading books, you just get all busy with like talking to people, helping your team, doing then like all of a sudden, like I don't know if this happens to you, Lisa, but every time I go like travel, like then I get like 20 people messaging me wanting to interview me. I'm like, I can't do it, like I have other stuff to do. Right. And then all of a sudden you find yourself like not doing personal development, not reading, not going through courses, and I kind of feel like it happens to all of us. And then we wonder, why can't I do like a proper Facebook Live? Why can't I do like a normal blog post that is actually valuable? And that's why. And I know the moment I go back to consistent, either reading something every single day, either going through a course, and it doesn't have to be like reading every single day. Like some days I don't really feel like reading, so instead I open up a course and I watch a video or listen to an audiobook, which I hate listening to audiobooks, but I force myself to, especially if I'm still like waiting for a hard copy. So for me, like, number one thing, so like if I'm reading a book, so I'll give an example. So I have like 5 different books on my desk. So I'm reading one book, like I'm kind of going back and forth with, is like Expert Secrets. And you know what I do? And I can do it like with any book, depending on what you're teaching. So generally what I do is I open up, what do you call it? Like the content, like the table of content. And then I look through like each chapter, like what each chapter is covering. And then if I like something like, let's say like Russell Brunson's book, like I can take a look at, like creating your mass movement, or like, the hero's 2 journeys, or like the 3 secrets, or like, like anything, honestly. If there's something that really resonates with me or my audience, mostly, then I'm like, okay, I'm going to read that chapter and I'm going to create a piece of content out of that. So because you don't have to read the whole book, especially if you've already read it before. So I go through the chapter, I get some ideas, and then I start taking some notes. And after that, I create the title with the keyword and everything. So that's kind of like, you always work backwards. You're like, okay, what is the like end goal in mind? So I want to help people with, like, let's say, help them come out, like create their target market, for example. So this is like, the end goal of this particular article or end video. Then, what is it that I'm going to share? Like the bullet points, what I'm going to cover in the video, what's going to be the lead magnet I'm going to promote, like, what's, how am I going to build my list with this article? Then, and only then, like once everything is, before I actually record the video, I always have the title and the keywords. So like, what are people searching for when they go to Google or YouTube to, figure out that particular topic. So books, like table of content, that's the first one that I do for like coming up with content. Another thing that I do is Pinterest. And honestly, that has been my favorite one, because Pinterest, honestly, it's like those infographics. Oh my gosh.
I am a Pinterest freak. Okay.
Yes. Same thing. Like I can spend freaking hours on Pinterest. Oh my gosh. And it's not even like, it's like you go there and then it gives you all like, you open up one pin, like, one little graphic, and then you scroll down and there's like all sorts of different ones that are related. And that's the gold mine. I mean, I will say probably 60% of my website is Pinterest.
Yeah, it's funny because Pinterest is oops, my cell phone just went off. Pinterest is actually like my number one go-to website that I go to come up with the ideas.
Yeah.
So I love to go there and just type in the, a
keywords.
keyword or whatever, and just kind of see what goes up. So for example, if I wanted to shoot a video on how to create content, I would, go there and type in content creation or creating content or something like that. And it would give me all these different ideas, and I would just look through them and like, oh, that's a good topic. Oh, that's a good idea. And you just never run out. But one of the things that getting back to the topic of reading books and reading podcasts or listening to podcasts or audiobooks, me personally, I'm not a huge book reader. Like I have so many books that I'll start and then they just never get finished. Right? And it's a habit that I constantly go through. It's like I read a few pages and I'm like, ugh, I don't want to read anymore. I'm not a big reader, but I love to listen to audios with my notepad on my computer. And anytime as I'm listening to it and I come across, ooh, that's a good idea. That was gold bars right there. I'm putting it on my notepad. Because, I'm highlighting some of the things that I'm listening to, whether it's on a podcast or an audio book or whatever. If I stumble upon like a process that somebody's teaching me how to do, I'm like this while I'm listening and I'm typing my notes out. And it's just easier for me to do that versus reading like a book and then going back and forth reading. You know what I mean? It's just harder for me. Everybody has their own learning style. And audio is definitely my style. Okay. So one of the things that I plan on doing, because like you said before, we do get, complacent where we just don't feel like doing anything or reading books or listening to audios or, listening to personal development stuff or whatever. We all go through that. But one of my goals for 2019, as we move forward into the new year, my goal for 2019 is to listen to, because I love audiobooks so much, and there's so many good ones out there with so much valuable information that I can actually not only learn for myself, but then also teach it to my audience. And that is to, like, for example, you and I just bought an audiobook yesterday. Okay. Yeah. And we're going to go through this audiobook or whatever. And I know you bought the actual hard copy too, but I actually bought just the audio because I'm not really a book reader. But so the audio, like, it would take me forever to read the book. Not because I can't read, but because I can't focus when I'm reading. So we bought the audio, and then the audio is only like under 5 hours long. So if you think about it, I may not have 5 hours to sit down and listen to the whole audio at once, but I do have a week to listen to like an hour a day. And I will be done with that book in a week, in less than a week. So the goal for 2019 is to just get all the audio books that I can possibly get my hands on this year. And every single week, I'm going to go through a new audiobook every single week. And I'm going to knock it out that week. Because it's just so easy for me to just plug it into my, headphones, listen to the audio while I'm cleaning up, and if I stumble upon something that I want to take notes on, I jot it down while I'm in the kitchen, putting the dishes in the dishwasher. Or maybe I'm cleaning the room and doing laundry or whatever. Or maybe I'm going for a walk, right? Or maybe I don't go to the gym because I work out at home. But if, you go to the gym or whatever, or let's say like you're in a car and you're listening to, like, I'll turn my car into, the personal development station. Okay. And I will for me, that's my goal, because I have to admit that I've been so bad with not only reading books, because I can't stand to read. I hate reading. It gives me a headache. It hurts my eyes because I feel like I'm straining, right? I gotta wear like my reading glasses just to see the words. But I think we all go through that. Like you said before, we all go through that. And so if you can commit to, even if you don't like doing audiobooks, even if it's just a book a month, like a hard copy book every month that you want to get through, that's 12 books next year that you would have knocked out. And now you have so much more knowledge and so much more content ideas flowing into your mind and your body that it will be easy to produce content. So for me, it's the audiobooks, one audiobook a week. Why? Because the audiobooks, they're short. I can take an hour a day doing the things that I'm naturally doing and just knock them out. So that's actually my tip for the day. So what do we want to close this episode with, Jelena?
So I will say this. So always focus on, like you said, I actually like this idea because, it's funny because this is the first, and actually it's my second audiobook that I'm listening to, and I'm probably going to be done with it this week. If not like tomorrow, because it's such a good book, like, oh my gosh.
Well, let me ask you a question. How long do you think it would have taken you to get through the book?
If I were to read it?
If you actually read the book and commit to reading the book, how long would it normally take you to finish a book versus a less than 5-hour audio? You know what I mean?
I'll give a confession. So this year, like over the last months, probably ever since May, and I don't know, maybe it's like, I don't know what it is. Maybe there's something in the air, but like I start the book, I read the first chapter, then I get bored.
Well, that's what I just said. You see, that's why I can't commit to the books. I just can't do it. Book reading just doesn't work well with me at all. I can listen to a podcast in an hour or listen to an audiobook in 4 or 5 hours or even 8 hours for the whole week and take like an hour a day or 2 hours a day to listen to it, and I will knock it out so much faster. So yeah.
That's why for me, like whenever I start reading, like on my desk right now, I literally have like 5 different books. So because I used to be able to read like a book in like a week or like a few days. Obviously depends on the thickness of the book. Like I have like one book that is like 540 pages. Like no way I'm going to be able to finish it like in 1 week. Hell no, like I have other stuff to do. So, right. But generally, it really depends on the book. Like if the book is all about like marketing strategies and stuff, it's probably going to take me like 2 weeks if I were to read it and really dive in, because like right now I actually do like audiobooks like at this point because it's just so quick. Like, and as you mentioned, like 1 hour a day.
Right, and then you can put it on speed. So that makes it go by even faster.
Oh yeah, like double speed all the way, right? So obviously it depends on the book. But yeah, like, you can knock out the book like in 3 hours. No way you can do it reading the book. And I'm the type of person that I don't do speed reading. I don't do like any of those like crazy tactics. Like I like to read from like front page to the like last page. Yeah. But I've always used like a strategy. And obviously this just takes so long, and that's literally a strategy I used to use for blogging. So I use like sticky notes, right? So that's like kind of like for paper. Obviously I don't do it for like audiobooks, but what I used to use, so I'm not the type of person that makes the book dirty by highlighting and then like rubbing it. I just don't like it. It's like, it's a book, like it better stay clean. So what I did, and obviously it's like extra effort, but like I read the book and then there's something like you say, like, an idea or something, like, oh, like that's so genius. I put it on a sticky note and I put it inside the book. So whenever I go back to the book and I like, start like, like opening it and like checking out the pages, I can always see the places where there was like something like golden, like gold nuggets. Then I always go back to that page and I can turn those sticky notes into pieces of content, whether that's a Facebook Live or a blog post. So if you're like a reader and you're, listen to this video, then that may be a strategy. Otherwise, like I just take like for audiobooks or podcasts, I usually have either notes in like my Trello account, or I just use Evernote or like a notes app or something.
Exactly. So everybody has their own style. Pick one and run with it.
Exactly.
So thank you so much, Jelena. We tried to stay about 30 minutes, but it was so good. We just had to keep going and pouring the value to you guys. So thank you so much for being on today's webcast. I definitely appreciate you being here. So guys, listen, if you want to get access to my free 14-minute video where I'm going to show you 7 of my proven to convert attraction marketing content that converts, then go to lisatorresspeaks.com/17, and I will put that link right here underneath this video. And Jelena, where can they reach you? Where can they get in contact with you and learn more about you?
My blog, most likely, jelenaostrovska.com, and my Facebook profile or fan page. So if you just search for Jelena Ostrovska, then my name is most likely going to pop up.
Got it. All right. Well, there you have it, guys. Thanks for tuning in, and we will see you on the next episode. Take care.